Okay, and we are back for part 2 of I Am Not a Baby Mama, How to Co-Parent Without the Drama. Hey, that rhymed. Okay, so the old video got cut off, so we're going to pick up where we left off.
Okay,
That's
yes.
you.
When I was saying have fun in vacation with Makai, I realized, like I said before, that she was really upset. So I went home and then I gave her a call and I said, "Hey, is everything okay?" She's like, "Yes, yes, everything's okay." And then I was like, "No, no, it's not. You're not okay." And she was like, "Yes, I am." She's like, "Well, I really didn't like that you told me my daughter to stop being stop being girly because we are girls." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. But maybe you shouldn't do so much in front of Makai." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, like, oh my God. She's like, "Shakeema, that's like telling Makai not to be a boy." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And inside, like, I was kind of like furious because I was just like, oh my God, my son is going to be sweet. Not saying I have a problem with it, but you want your son to make that choice when he's older. Mm-hmm. So I just got bothered and I kind of just like internalized it. I was like, okay, wait a minute. She's right. They're girls. And I'm a girl too, but I just don't act that way. So in my mind, I rationalized it in some kind of weird way to make myself say, okay, it's okay. I just wanted them to do more boy stuff. So I made sure I told his dad, you need to do boy stuff. Like when they're doing girl stuff, my son is doing boy stuff. And we kind of worked it out. I mean, I talked a little bit about it and got over it. And does it still bother me? Absolutely. Absolutely. She's so girly. She's so girly, y'all. But I love her. And, I just deal with it internally. I'm not a person. I don't want to be, like, irrational and yell at her. And, no, it's not that serious. Really, it's not. So I just let it go. And I just say, she's bougie and she's girly, okay? I understand. I got it. And that's her personality.
I am. Okay, so the last topic that we have before some maybe helpful tips is the worst situation that we may have been in as co-parents, or however you want to call it. But you want to go first? What was your worst situation? And we purposely withheld these responses from each other so we can get our most real reaction. Mm-hmm. So go for it.
I think the worst situation is her insecurities. Because when we first met, we have totally two different personalities, two different bodies, two different mindsets. I'm outgoing, wild, and she's reserved, and she's just quiet. Like, she likes to feel things out. Me, I'm jumping head first. Mm-hmm. I want to know everything. I want to explore. So I think with her insecurities with me and Jason, which is her husband now, mm-hmm. my son's father, I think that she felt uncomfortable with him being alone because I would see her like randomly creep in the screen when they're on Skype or when he's on the phone. I can randomly hear her sing, "Tell Keema I said hi," but it's like she came out of nowhere. I couldn't figure out. Like, at first I thought maybe she's just randomly walking in, but after a while I kind of picked up on it. So for me, it bothered me, but as a woman, I can understand that because I was before her. This person I done laid in bed with, and she knew that. So that played on her insecurity. And for me, that was the worst situation because I kept quiet a long time about it. Even though I wanted to say, like, hey, dude, I don't want, anything with him. I just want him to be Makai's dad, and I want to be a good dad. And once I told her that eventually, I think it was like maybe a year. Mm-hmm. And I think when he was deployed in Korea, mm-hmm. I finally told her, like, hey, I would never do that to you. Because I have enough respect for her. And her being just a woman, women mm-hmm. should have respect for each other. But to me, that was like the worst feeling in the world. To always constantly feel like she was insecure. Hold on, the dog's biting the chair. Stop biting that chair. Better stop. He's tearing your chair up. I'm sorry. I don't want a dog tearing the chair. Mm-mm. But I feel like that's the worst situation in the world. Knock it off there. Because for a woman to feel insecure with her own husband, it's not a good feeling. As for me, it was just horrible. Overall, it was really horrible. And I think, after talking to her and making sure she really understood, like, if you want to know what we're talking about, just ask me. If you want to see what we're talking about, you want to see how I'm dressed. I mean, everything. I wanted to have an open door. I didn't want any confusion with her. So I just, basically told her, like, hey, I'm here for you. Like, honestly, I really am. Yeah, so pretty much. And she's back. She had to get the dog. But yeah.
And I think that's real because, I'm sure there are other women out there that can relate to that. There is a sense of insecurity because, like she said, she's been with, my husband now. So she knows literally everything, mm-hmm. I'm not going to get super specific, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. And so, those thoughts do wander through your mind. And so, she's right. There were times where I would creep around, wondering, okay.
Like this.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that was real. And it's funny because she caught on to that, and she's never really shared that with me before. And that's what I wanted her to keep that until this video. I think mine was, honestly, when it was the day Jason got promoted to staff, and you called him and then said, oh, by the way, you want to see Kai today? It was his birthday, too, because you had moved here. And I'm like, wait, what? You moved here? Like, she's literally like right up the street. Like, she literally does live like 10, 15 minutes away, depending on traffic. And I was hot. I was livid. And I had to calm down because, one, it was his birthday. He had just made staff. And he got his dream, which was to have all his kids close to him. And so I was trying so hard to put my feelings in my pocket, but it was hard because I'm very expressive when I get upset. I'm very emotional. And so I'm thinking, I didn't want her in my backyard. It was supposed to be us against the world. And it's just like, man, really? And so I really had to let go of that and understand I have to establish a friendship with her. You know, I shouldn't be against her. I shouldn't have any ill thoughts towards her because Kai is family and she's family, you know. And even when, you know, her and her daughter come over here, her daughter comes running up to me, you know, and I never want her daughter to feel like she's not family. And so we have really made an honest effort since her being here to become one big giant blended family. And I think that's what's so important is we've been able to establish a relationship with each other outside of Jason, outside of the kids, you know. And that's one of the things I wanted to mention is I always try to keep these Christian based, and so I wanted to touch on, you know, a ram in the bush. And I didn't know it, but, you know, God was kind of working things out for me, and I didn't even realize it. So she moved up here, you know, and I'm thinking, out of anywhere in the world, she came here, really? And I understood it was for Kai and Jason to be together, but she also helped me out. You know, I mentioned in the first episode some of the issues that me and my husband are having, and it was her that came knocking on my door at like 10 o'clock at night, banging on the door in her pajamas with her kids on a school night, all up in his face, you know, saying, no, you're gonna make this work, you're gonna try, give it effort, you know, you really haven't tried. And I'm thinking, man, that never ever happens. You know, you never hear of this person, this relationship that they had, her coming to my door saying, no, you're gonna try. And sometimes people need somebody who's a little more aggressive. I'm not aggressive. And so she came in here, she was in his face, you know, and then he really like sat back and took it and said he was going to try. And so to me, she was my ram in the bush that God had for me. And I didn't even realize it. So I say that to say, you know, look at all your situations and just think that, you know, sometimes God has a bigger plan for you than what's right in front of your face. And I appreciate God using her and her being obedient to that, because she didn't have to. She could care less if she wanted to, but she cared enough for me and our family, and even for Kai, to say, you know, I'm not trying to go through this all over again with another female. You know, it's hard enough with this. So, you know, I think that's how I wanted to tie this whole thing in together is look at the bigger picture, and it's so much more peaceful. And even recording this, I was telling Jason, you know, we're going to record this episode. And he's like, oh, I don't even want to be here for that. That's so weird. It's so weird y'all have that relationship. I'm like, you could have it so much worse.
Yes.
You know, we could always be fighting
hate each
head
other
to head. You know, that would make a bad situation for him and Kai, you know. And so he's really, really blessed, and he may not realize that. But, you know, I consider us blessed, and even her parents have welcomed me. You know, anytime you want to get away, if you want to come to the house, we'll watch the kids. You know, that's unheard of, and so it can happen without the drama, without the stereotype baby mama name, and you know, because that's not us. And I think that you guys can benefit from that.
Yes. Well, that was so sweet, y'all. That was so sweet, honestly. Y'all know I'm a goober. Well, one thing I want to tell everybody, though. Like, one thing I must say. When you co-parent, you have to take yourself out of the situation. Like, whatever you do, don't worry about your emotions. I mean, you have to put them on the back burner. Because my thing is, at the end of the day, if I die, this lady right here going to take care of my child. So if I make her angry or make her feel crazy, she's going to be crazy with my child. So I always, you know, treat her with respect because, number one, she's a woman. She's a mother. And she's been through some of the situation with, you know, having to start her life all over with her daughter, you know. And so I put myself in her situation like, okay, she's married to this person. And yes, I'm the other, basically, with my son. And I want us to be one family. So how am I going to make it work? I just thought about it and I was like, well, first communication. So I've always told her from day one, anytime you feel slighted by me or you feel that I'm being some type of way towards you, I want you to tell me immediately. Don't wait. Don't do nothing. Just text me, call me, email me, Facebook me, whatever. Whatever, all the social media in the world that she has. Just contact me to make sure I understand how she felt at that moment. Because I don't want our relationship to be strained by arguing and bickering. Because, a lot of people, especially with the baby mama little thing, they have a tendency to, put you in a box. Like, you're going to act this way because you're a baby's mama. And that's, I've never been that way. I'm not raised that way. I have a mother who's brilliant. I have a father who's brilliant. So they always taught me how to act. I mean, yeah, some people watching this, my friends, should be quiet. Don't make no comments. But I know how to act. And I've always said I never want her to think I was stereotypical. That's like my worst fear, for somebody to put me in that box.
Right.
So I always presented myself well. And even if she does make you feel some type of way, you have to take a step back and say, you know what, it's going to take some time. I'm not saying this was like immediately we were perfect. I mean, no, it wasn't. But we never argued. We have never had a real bad argument except when she was pregnant. It wasn't even really bad. She just was crying and was emotional about their picture. And I wanted to laugh.
This is so beautiful.
Because I laugh at everything. Maybe at the end of the video, she'll show you the picture so you can see it. But, yeah, I mean, really, you have to just communicate, take your time, lay rules. I think the best thing for us is rules. Like, we always had rules from the beginning. From her giving me rules to me giving her rules. And even with our kids, like, I didn't want our kids, like, saying stepbrother or stepsister. Right. I want it to be a family.
Right. And,
like, even if my son does decide one day, I'm going to call Destiny Mom. Okay, it's no problem. Because a mother doesn't mean your blood. A mother means somebody who nurtures you and take care of you, fall down, put a Band-Aid on you. So you have to let that go, too. I mean, everything you think of that you don't want, you kind of got to let go. And just open yourself to a new book. It's like a new journal with empty pages. And you have to learn what works for you.
I agree. And I think one of the other things I would add is it's not bad or wrong to set boundaries. There were times when I told Jason, okay, Kai's in bed by this time, so phone calls between you and her, they need to stop by this time. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to still respect yourself, so don't lose respect for yourself. Don't be unreasonable, because there may be a time where she needs to call you and say, hey, can you pick up the kid tomorrow from school? She may have to call late, but just respect the boundaries. And then the only other thing I think I would touch on is put the kids first. Understand that this is all for the kids. They are so receptive and they understand. So if your child's coming into a home that's tense because of what you guys have going on, they're gonna receive that, and that's not good for them because they didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for a new mom or a new house or to have two houses and two Christmases and things like that. So make sure you always put the kids first. Communicate with them. Ask them how they feel. And understand that because there are two houses, there are two separate set of rules. And so you may have to debug those children for the first day, but understand that, they're coming from a different environment and they don't have to do things exactly the way you want to because that's not what they're always accustomed to. So be patient and receptive to the child's needs and always put them first. And then respect, I think, is the biggest thing that kind of ties in with boundaries, but respect her as a mother of this child and vice versa. I could never disrespect her, even if I may have been upset, I've bit my tongue or I've put my feelings in my pocket so that I could get my emotions in check, and I'm sure she's done the same. And we've shared some intimate conversations with each other, and
we're like besties, y'all. It's so weird, right?
It is.
It's so weird.
And that's why I say, it's unheard of to have the relationship that we have, but it can be done. Co-parenting can be successful, and I just encourage you guys to try it and get rid of that baby mama stereotype because it's so negative, and you're so much more than that, and God created you to be so much more than that. You're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're not ratchet, you're not hood. You don't have to handle every situation like that. Talk, communicate, pray, and establish an actual relationship with the other woman. That way you guys can work together and handle conflict. So I think that's all I have to say about it. Do you have anything you want to add?